Morning. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners. Second work session for this Wednesday, May 19th, 2021, 10:11 a.m. Getting a little bit of a late start. We're here till 11 on a topic. It's a mouthful. Water and sewer construction and materials standards updates. Public can follow along on the Thurston County YouTube channel or by calling the conference line at 360-252-9020. The PIN is 1234. And I'm going to, let's see, we've got, is Commissioner Mejia, is Commissioner Edwards present?
No, he's coming in probably in a minute.
Imminently, I hear his voice actually in the hall.
Yeah.
County Manager Miro Chavez, Director of Public Works Jennifer Walker, and Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell, and then key members of Jennifer's team. I'll let her introduce as needed, but I'm gonna just pass the baton to the County Manager because I'm not sure what this one's all about.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. Just to give you a little bit of a higher umbrella of this presentation on any type of construction that we do, the developers do in the county as well as county staff, we utilize the standards. And standards in terms of whether it's road standards or any type of standards, so we know that we have a way to build infrastructure consistent with national standards and consistent with the ever-changing requirements that we have, whether it's the state and federal laws. So what you're going to be hearing today is a proposal for you to consider updating the water and sewer construction and materials standards. Those standards, the last time they have been reviewed was in 2007. So there's a little bit outdated standard. So, and this is a way just to keep up with the industry, technology, and everything else that is changing in the last few years. So you will hear the effort. The Public Works has gone through this process, and at some point we will ask as to some of the options that you may have as a result of this presentation. Jennifer.
Thank you. Hi, Tim's going to frame it, but I do want to just recognize Zainab. This is, I think, her last week. So she is moving on and got a very good position with a county up north, but just wanted to recognize her for her efforts and thank her for really bringing our utilities in alignment. They have been underserved for a while, and so having a team focused and being more proactive. So appreciate her efforts, and I wanted to make sure she got recognized for that. So thank you, Zainab.
Thank you, Zainab.
With that, I will turn it over to Tim.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Tim Wilson, Water Resources Manager with Public Works. I would just echo Jennifer's comments and you know, Zainab has done so much work in bringing our utilities up to speed, and she will surely be missed. With that, we do have Zainab with us. We also have Kevin Patching, our Utilities Operations Supervisor here. This is a topic that we first discussed with you last month during our State of the Utilities briefing. It is one of 4 significant efforts that we are moving forward somewhat simultaneously. We, along with our water and sewer development standard updates, we're also moving forward with proposed code updates, updates to our water system plans, and our our cost of service study. They're all important pieces of updating our utilities and an effort to better manage the utilities that we are responsible for, with the goal of continuing to provide good, safe, reliable water and sewer service to our ratepayers and to set these utilities up for long-term success. So with that, just wanted to acknowledge that this briefing today represents a ton of work that's been done by staff and consultants up to date. Up until now, it is, as you can imagine, water and sewer construction and materials standard updates are somewhat technical in nature, so please bear with staff as we roll through that. And with that, I would turn it over to Zainab and Kevin.
Hey, thank you. So this is the part where I try to share my screen. Let's see. Okay. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm here today. We're here today to talk about the water and sewer construction and material standards update. So similar to the utility code update, at the end of this presentation or briefing, what we're hoping to leave with today is the Board of County Commissioners authorization to begin public outreach on the proposed updates to the Thurston County development standards for the water and sewer systems. So the agenda for today, we're going to give you a little bit of background about what the development standards are, what are the benefits of updating the development standards, what were some of the goals of the process, what was the process we went through. We'll then give you a handful of examples and then discuss proposed next steps with public outreach. So for some background, the development standards for water and sewer systems lay out development standards for the county's water and sewer systems only. So that's only Boston Harbor, Grand Mount, Olympic View, and Tamashan. And these primarily apply to new development. So realistically, that's really going to be primarily focused in Grand Mount. So if you have someone coming in and they're looking to connect to Tumwater, Lacey, Thurston County PUD, they would not be using our development standards. They would be using the development standards of the jurisdiction or system which they're connecting to. So our development standards were last updated in 2007. It's a very long time ago. They'd be entering high school right about now. So when you look at other jurisdictions, City of Olympia, they do annual updates. Pierce County does biennial updates. The City of Lacey last updated theirs in 2014, which is still 7 years more recent than when we last updated ours. So some benefits of having updated development standards beyond just meeting regulatory requirements. It improves clarity around development requirements. It also allows our water system plans to be approvable by the Department of Health once we address regulatory requirements in our development standard updates. So that includes the Satellite Management Agency Plan, our Grand Mound Water System Plan, and the Boston Harbor Water System Plan. And those are all plans which the Board of County Commissioners will be receiving briefings on towards the end of this year. So when we talk about having approved water system plans, those are very beneficial because they bring us into compliance with regulatory requirements. They help us preserve our water rights because it's through the water system planning effort that you comply with municipal water law. It also makes the county systems eligible for state revolving funds for construction loans for water projects. And they also allow us to get a water main extension review exemption from the Department of Health. And what that means is that when a developer comes in, if they have a project where they are putting in a water main, they only have to come to Thurston County and get our review for that water main. They don't have to go to the Department of Health. Otherwise, they would have to go both to Thurston County to get their construction plans approved, and they would also go to the Department of Health, and that's additional time and additional money for the developer. So what were the goals of this project? The goals included improving clarity surrounding developer requirements. You would be surprised at the number of phone calls that Kevin and I get about developers asking about kind of some gaps that we have in our existing development standards. It would bring the development standards into alignment with regulatory requirements. It would help us gain access to low-cost construction loans for drinking water projects. It would update our standards to industry best practices, and it would also incorporate updated AirVac technology. And when I say that, that is for our Grand Mound vacuum sewer system. We are one of the few jurisdictions which uses vacuum sewer. And so we rely on AirVac's technology and need to keep our standards updated with whatever new products that they are coming out with or new standards that they have implemented. So we talk about the update process. We brought in HDR, who's just an engineering consulting firm. We brought them on as water and sewer subject matter experts to help us complete this update. We use the City of Olympia's development standards as a model, and this was both to promote consistency between jurisdictions to make development easier. So they're not looking at City of Olympia and then looking at our standards and we have something completely different. And we're also hoping to leverage the annual update process conducted by City of Olympia for any future development standards updates that we do. And what that means is we're not saying that when City of Olympia goes in and they make an update that we'll make the same update. We're saying that's another set of eyes that we can use to help maybe catch some new regulatory requirements or things that maybe need to be changed in order to meet best practices of the day. We also incorporated feedback from our public works utility operators, our technical services group, the engineering group in the Office of the County Engineer, as well as the prosecuting attorney's office. So what I'm going to go through now, we're not going to go through all the changes. We're just kind of giving you an example of each of those high-level categories of changes, which I talked about: clarity, regulatory changes, industry best practice, and proprietary technology. And then we'll talk about some proposed next steps. So we talk about improving clarity. Kind of a big one. It's little, but it's really big. We're making this a searchable PDF. Currently, there's 134 pages that developers have to flip through to find what they need. We're also including more standard details. So a standard detail is basically a drawing that tells developers how to build something, where to connect pipes. And so we're including more details so that when the developer comes in, they can go to this drawing number and put that on their plans instead of having to hire a consultant to create a drawing or for them to go out and have to find one that's acceptable to Thurston County. The second item is addressing regulatory changes. So one example of that is the separation between potable and non-potable lines. Currently in our standards, we only address sanitary sewer pipes. And the purpose of this separation is to ensure that if something were to go wrong with the water main, that you're not having non-potable liquids into your line and create a health and safety hazard. So right now we only address essentially sewer pipes, and we are updating the standards to cover all non-potable lines. So that's going to include like gasoline. It would still include sewer. It would include reclaimed water. Basically anything that you as a human cannot safely drink would have to maintain a safe separation between the water main and that pipe. So the next item is industry best practices. So an example of this is that in our current standards, it shows direct tapping and service saddle as two options for putting in a new service line. And so we are removing direct tapping as an option, and that decreases the likelihood of the pipe cracking along the entire length when tapped. And yes, if a developer comes in and they damage our pipe during the construction process, they are responsible for fixing that pipe. However, anytime that we have a line out of service, that's a disruption to our customers that we want to avoid. Last example of a category is updating our AirVac standards. So as I mentioned before, we are one of the few jurisdictions that uses vacuum sewer, and we rely on AirVac proprietary technology for our system. And so we need to update our system to meet what AirVac's current standards are. And so here, just an example of how the vacuum sewer buffer tank has changed since 2007. So before it used to be two big boxes, two different components for the buffer tank, and now it's just a single tank. And so the developer, one of the things that they have to do when they come to us with the vacuum sewer system is AirVac actually has to review their plans for us when they're putting in new infrastructure. And this is just to avoid the iterative process where they go to AirVac and we're not using the current AirVac standards, and that developer has to make revisions. So proposed next steps, the proposal is that we go out for public outreach in June and July of 2021. We would collect all that feedback and incorporate it as appropriate into a kind of final draft document in August 2021. We'd come back for another board briefing in September of 2021 and look for adoption of the new standards sometime in September and October of 2021. Now, in terms of what that public outreach process would look like, At a minimum, we would have flyers at the Building Development Center. We would have emails, targeted emails to regional trade groups such as the Olympia Master Builders. We're also going to do a little flyer, little mini flyer in our customers' water bills. And any online comment submission form that we have is going to be open for a minimum of 30 days. And with that, we will take questions.
Could you stop sharing your screen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Mejia, anything for Zainab?
No, this was all great. My only comment, I guess, more than a question is I see the public outreach would be June and July of 2021. With it being like halfway through May, is that kind of like a achievable goal to just, are you ready to get the ball rolling starting in June?
We've already started having discussions with our outreach group. And right now we believe that that timeline can be met. If in the event that that changes due to workloads or anything like that, we would end up extending that public outreach period.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner Edwards I can't see.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, you're off my screen. Okay, your turn.
I don't add anything to the picture anyway. So anyway, what's this going to cost? What kind of costs are we coming up with here?
So in general, we think the costs are going to be fairly minimal. I mean, it's important to realize that many of the things that we're asking for are already industry best practices and industry standard practices that most developers already do. They're just not incorporated into our standards. When we look at something like direct tapping versus saddle tapping, you're looking at somewhere maybe between $120 and $200. But that is kind of something that most people do already. Most developers already do the saddle tap. And it also has long-term benefits for the system because our utility operators are much more familiar with saddle tapping than they are with direct tapping. And so they're better able to more quickly to respond to any issues that the system experiences. So that's less time and money for the system overall.
And in the end, we're going to be compliant in some fashion?
The goal of this would be for us to come into compliance with Department of Health's current requirements around materials for water mains and separation requirements between potable and non-potable lines.
And do you know how we stack up against others?
What do you, in what way?
In Thurston County, as far as the compliance issue. Everybody else is in compliance. We're the only ones in the state that aren't, or?
Zainab,
Yeah.
I don't think Commissioner Edwards had the opportunity to hear when you talked about the dates.
That's slide
when
number 5.
codes were-
Okay, on 5.
So maybe review that.
I got it right here.
Okay.
Yeah, she covered
Basically, what you said is right.
that. Yeah, she covered that early in the presentation.
Okay.
Could somebody shift the camera so we can get Commissioner Edwards on screen? Is anybody available for that?
Yep.
Commissioner Mejia has requested it, and I would too. Or if you could just slide over, Commissioner
Yeah, I
Edwards,
can just slide over here. Then you don't have to worry about it.
that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. I apologize. Would you like me to verbalize slide 5 again?
No. That's fine. Good.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know that I have any questions. Was that it, Commissioner Edwards, for you?
Yep, that was it for me.
Okay. This seems like kind of like one of the ones we had last year where it just seems like we need to put it out to the public process, and I'm sure folks will give us heads up if there's something in there that is especially onerous or unreasonable. We can evaluate it at that time. So Ramiro, anything that you wanted to ask? You're the subject matter expert of the 4 of us.
You know, I believe this is a timely update. And if anything, we just need to keep up with the industry standards, as Zena stated. And this is going to be even streamlining the process of the construction industry. because they understand when they do similar work on all the jurisdictions here in Thurston County will be the same type of standards as opposed for the county to have annulled the standards. So my recommendation is for you to allow the Department of Public Works to continue with the public process and bring back to you the feedback they have received as a result of that.
Okay, I got a thumb up for that.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner,
Yes, sir.
thumb up.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 3 thumbs up for moving forward.
All right.
Thank you.
You.
Let's haul the septic people back in here and.
I wish all the briefings can be like this. Start late and finish earlier.
Yeah, thank you guys. Dana,
Thank you.
good luck
Thank you.
on your new endeavor up north.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Good luck on your new endeavors.
We'll miss your code update briefings. All right, we're adjourned.